Hey, Veronica. What? I thought you said he was going to ask me. He really said that? I don't care. He can take whomever he wants to the dance. It's whomever. Really? My heart is breaking and you're debating me about grammar. Oh, I don't want to go with you. How lame would that be? Look, I gotta go. What? No, I'm not going. No.
Okay. So, we have a couple of shots I'd like to delve into and talk about.
Can I stop you a second? Also, the very first thing you see on screen kind of tells you what kind of film it is. If it's all dark and lightning out, then it's like, okay, maybe it's a mystery. If he's got a kid walking a dog and he's got clouds, it sounds like it's going to be like kind of upbeat and it's got that kind of country music behind it. It doesn't seem like it's going to be a horror film, certainly. So you kind of communicate what kind of film you're making by the very first thing you see. And you have a really short time to win your audience over and go, what is this? And okay, I'm in good hands, I'm going to watch this thing, this guy knows what he's doing, this woman knows what she's doing, instead of, I have no idea what they're doing. This is like going nowhere. And so you couldn't have that kid walking too much longer, or you'd be like, too many more clouds, it's like, okay, what are we doing? But then it does that record scratch, which gets you to this shot. And that's like a little bit of a surprise, and hopefully as an audience, you go, oh, I'm surprised, and what's this? It's an old lady laying on the grass.
It's supposed to, that jarring stop to the music is supposed to put you out, like, saying, something's wrong in this world. And I'm about to show you what's wrong in this world. And so Zane, he did a wonderful job acting in this. He enters and lays down, and we've got this shot. So the next shot, of course, we built a scaffold out in the yard, and got up there on a nice tall platform and shot down. No, we didn't. We moved our actors. Well, you can't quite see it, but the deck is over here. So we put the camera up on the deck, and we slid the actors, they're laying down just below the deck, their feet are under the deck. So from the waist up, it looks like they're in the grass. And that's, we just made a practical use of our surroundings. And no one knows that you're not still in the middle of the yard. And then here's the same effect. It's called an L cut, where the audio from the next scene creeps into this scene.
Happy birthday, dear Susie. Happy birthday to you.
Listen for the crickets. If you paid attention, you hear that same cricket chirp as a pattern, because I needed something that I could use, and there was constant hum. The airplanes were terrible. In fact, here's, right when the mom sits down, you'll hear an airplane.
Make a wish.
Hey!
Hey, sweetie, open this one first.
Well, by the time we shot the other angle, that airplane was long gone. So in my editing, I had to do something to either, there's ways, some sounds you can kind of eliminate, but other times you have to kind of mask it. So I was out there, we got many minutes of just ambient sound, and birds, crickets, airplanes, and I was able to smooth it all out, because what you don't want is for, you know, this angle to have a humming airplane every time you cut back and forth in the shots. You gotta either own it for every shot or try and eliminate it for every shot.
If you're really stuck with a bad sound situation where you can't stop the traffic or stop the planes, if you can shoot it in one shot and keep the camera moving and do the whole thing in one shot, you don't have to worry, it's the same thing the whole time. It's only when you try to cut it where you get into sound problems.
So I want to show you this raw footage from this shot. Action.
Sissy? Oh, you did it again!
So, who are the editors here to tell me how I use that to then make it? You know, so you read it. What did I do to make that work?
Well, it's taken at the same place, so did you just like cut around him basically?
Exactly. So, it's nice to do it because I've got some lighting over here, and there were some clouds. I wanted to be quick about what I was doing because if you take too long, then some of the lighting will change between this moment in time and this moment in time. And what I did is I took the same shot and overlaid them, and then I matted out Zane in the box here. I don't have Final Cut Pro on this laptop, otherwise I'd show you, but so I cut a rectangle out, and underneath it you see the other sequence earlier on where Zane's still laying there. And then as the car moves back, I just kind of wiped over that rectangle and made Zane disappear. And the camera's locked on a tripod, so that's really the only way that would work.
So can you show us that effect on the live film?
Say what?
Can you show us that on the live film?
Yeah, let's go back. It's a different angle here, but
Aim with that be? Look, I gotta go. Sissy? What? No, I'm not going. No.
so,
But that's not the effect. The last one was the actual effect, where you cut him out, right?
that one, I guess I can show that. So there's at the end of the film,
You want to just ask them if they want to see the rest?
do you want to see the rest of it? Do we have time to show the rest of the film, or there's like 8 minutes left?
Clock starts at 9:50.
Yeah, it's pretty close, actually.
Well, I can just show you, let me just jump to the end. So of course the dog has this premonition of the future and has to change things, and there's these comedic moments, and the dog's acting crazy, no one understands, but ultimately, here's the dog at the end.
Sissy? What? No, I'm not going. No. There's a crocodile.
That streak of white out?
What's white out? Look, there's Dog. Oh yeah, I can see her.
That gassy fur ball chasing a squirrel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nah, I don't see it.
Right there.
So that second time where with the dog involved, I wish I had that clip, because what I did is I had Zane laying there and I threw a piece of dog food and she ran after it, and then Zane gets up and grabs the dog and gets out of the way and the car roars past. And then I added the flash to white to also just get out of there, because and then to the clouds and yard, grass scene where they're looking at clouds. Bookends the movie, right? Just like we've seen in a lot of these films. Any questions?
Getting that dog to do that at the end wasn't the easiest thing.
Yeah, she didn't like wearing a cone,
And
so
it had to be, you know, the camera had to be going from place to place and get across to her. And she had to be in that position and not squirming away by the time you got to her. I've noticed.
we finally got it because Kathy was actually sitting on the dog, just out of frame, and right at the end she got up and bolted. I mean, I got every nanosecond of footage I could before she flinched and got out of it.
And speaking of nanosecond of footage, I heard Neoji chuckle when the dad goes, "Yay!"
Oh yeah.
And that was a totally
It was unscripted.
Unscripted,
found it in the editing. I didn't hear him say it on set, and it's low audio. I had to really boost it and make it work, but I had to have that moment.
Yeah, sometimes things happen after the camera is said, you know, cut, or the scene is cut. Sometimes if you let the camera run an extra 10 seconds, you might catch stuff that you can end up using just as a cutaway or something like that, where somebody does something.
And I was just going to speak to kind of saying cut, action, all those things. It may feel really funny when you first do it, but it is important for your crew as a director to take that lead and kind of show them who is giving direction, and that's why do a little bit of role playing with that perhaps before you're actually in that position, because it may make you feel a little more comfortable saying some of the things that would normally be said in that industry.
It's a little odd, you know, if you're shooting a scene in your basement and your parents are making noise upstairs and you go ahead and scream, "Quiet on set!" And they'll go, you know, and they'll appreciate that you're taking it seriously. And be the leader, be the visionary, because you are. And your cast and crew want to follow a confident leader, so be that person. It's your story, make it happen, and have fun doing it.
In the old film days, you would tell the sound guy to roll sound and he would turn the tape deck on, and it wouldn't be up to speed right away. It would take a second or two. So he would say speed to tell you, okay, we've got the right speed, it's rolling. Now you can start. Then he would tell the camera to turn on, because the camera was more expensive to shoot film than the audio tape. So the camera would be turned on second, and we turn on the camera. And then he would say rolling. So those were your two confirmations, speed and rolling. And then it was up to you to say action whenever you're ready. And then nobody says cut but you. Nobody else can say, oh, I don't like that scene, I'm going to stop. It's like, you tell your actors, you tell your crew, nobody says cut but you. You have complete control on that set. And then they'll respect that. I'm also a big fan of, sometimes the word action seems so, I don't know, I know Clint Eastwood, there's a line where he says, I just say, okay, go ahead. And then they act, and then he's like, all right, that's enough of that. And he says he only does 2 takes of something, because if we don't get it in 2 takes, we're not ready to be shooting it. And I think there's something to that. It's like, get good rehearsals in and know what you're doing before you get started, and you'll use your time well.
Okay, I think that about wraps it up. Don't be shy about contacting us if you have any glitches or need help or anything. We can help connect the dots to either help us ourselves or someone else who can step in and really contribute.